You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today, man, we have another amazing show lineup for y'all. We're going to talk to Jason Flom. He is the host of podcast Wrongful Convictions and Righteous Convictions. First and foremost, sir, I just want to welcome to your show and say, how you doing today, man?
Great, man. What a voice you got. Have you ever thought about becoming a singer? Because I think I'd be a millionaire in about a week.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. We'll have to look into that one day. But you are an amazing person doing amazing things. Tell us everything about this podcast and why it's so important.
Well, this podcast, Wrongful Conviction, is important because in it, we tell the stories. I interview people, I should say. They tell their own stories. I just help them tell the stories of their wrongful convictions and how they got caught up in the criminal legal system and convicted of crimes they didn't commit. Some of them are sentenced to life. Some of them are sentenced to death. Some of them have served 40 or more years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. And my hope is that our listeners, and now we've had almost 40 million people listen to the show, or 40 million listens. A lot of people listen to, many, many episodes. But my hope is that those people will come out with a new understanding of how these things happen and why they happen. And they'll be better able to defend themselves if they get caught up, which I hope they never do. Or some of your listeners may even have a loved one who's caught up in this now. And also that people will learn that they need to serve on juries. And when they do, they need to be educated so that they can make decisions that are rooted in fact and not influenced by people who may not be honest actors in the system. So my hope is that Wrongful Conviction, the podcast, will help to prevent wrongful convictions from happening in the future with the same terrifying degree of regularity that they do today.
Once again, this is I Am Refocused Radio talking to Jason Flom. And you had a recent episode with Dr. Nikki Jackson, and she talked about treating the trauma that stems from being wrongfully convicted. You touched on that.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Nikki Jackson is a hero of mine. She is a professor of criminology in Indiana, and she works on a lot of wrongful conviction cases like I do. And yeah, the trauma that comes from these wrongful convictions is something I don't think any of us who've never been through it can understand. I mean, I'm proximate to it every day, but it's unimaginable. I think it's everybody's worst nightmare, right? You're just like in quicksand. Nobody believes you. Nobody's listening. And the next thing you know, you're convicted and they bang that gavel down and they send you to prison. And now you're in a place that's, where you're deprived of everything that a human being needs to survive and thrive, right? Everything. And then you come out and it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do now, right? You've been in for 20 years or more and everything's changed and people have moved on and you don't have, what are you going to do for a resume or anything else? So that's just the beginning of the problem. So yes, we need to build ramps for people coming home from prison, innocent or guilty. And instead we put up walls and we make it as difficult as we possibly can. I was speaking with Vincent Simmons 2 days ago, a man who was wrongfully convicted in Louisiana, served almost 44 years and 9 months for a crime that never even happened. And he is now struggling because he can't get an ID card. It's so difficult just to get a simple ID. Everything we all take for granted, right? An ID card. And he can't go anywhere. He's like, I want to go visit my sister. I want to go here. I can't do it because I'm in a bigger prison now. So these are roadblocks I think many people don't think about, but we need to spend more time and we need to really create a system that is treating the people who come home from prison with respect as they do in most other Western countries.
Once again, talking to Jason Flom, the host of podcast Wrongful Convictions and Righteous Convictions. When people are listening, how can listeners get involved with this? How can they support the people who, like yourself, who are trying to shine light to this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate it. So Wrongful Conviction, of course, is the podcast. And we give people, ideas of how they can get involved. Something as simple as signing a petition, contributing to, an Amazon wish list for somebody coming home, writing letters to politicians or people that are have influence that might be able to help affect the outcome of a case. And Those are just some of the ways they can get involved. And of course, I think voting is one of the ways that people need to get involved. Everybody hears vote. It really is that important, especially in local races, district attorney races, judge races, sheriff races. You need to vote in these races because these races are decided by a very small number of votes. Your vote really does count. And if we want to make the system fairer and better for everybody, we have to put people in place that are going to be fair-minded and that are going to treat people with dignity, which unfortunately, that's not how it works in our system today.
Once again, you can listen to this amazing two podcasts, the podcast of Wrongful Convictions and Righteous Convictions on iHeartRadio. I want to say thank you, Jason Flom. It's a true honor talking to you today. Still pinch myself, man. You're a legend, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And feel free to follow me on Instagram at It's Jason Flom. It's ITS Jason Flom and TikTok.